tell them check out the blog, bro. YouTube channel called MKO. It's Pugilism Boxing Algorithm. M stand for Marvin and Kevin's initials KO. Yeah. What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel, where we talk all things boxing as per usual. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, today we're just going to speak briefly about the heavyweight bout that took place over the weekend on Saturday, which was between F.A. Ajagba and Jonathan Rice. This was a top rank debut for F.A. Ajagba. He's a Nigerian heavyweight, 6'6" tall or 6'5", I forget. Excuse me. And so he had gone from PBC, or been dropped from PBC. I think that's what he said. They let him go, and he's now with Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated. And this was his debut with them, and he was fighting this guy, Jonathan Rice. Jonathan Rice was a guy I didn't know too much about before this fight, but one thing I had heard from some other bloggers, I think from Hatman's blog, he was saying that this guy Jonathan Rice is a guy who does have ability, who does actually come to win. So he might seem like a journeyman, and his record might not seem that impressive, but he's a guy who sort of comes to win. He's a guy who comes to compete. He's a guy who makes it difficult for whoever he fights, you know, Tony Yoka and some others. He's got a few names on his resume. He hasn't really won any significant fights, but he's got a few names on his resume where you can say he's mixed in decent company with like prospects and people like that. So yeah, this guy was there to give Ajagba a test and give him a run out on his top ranked debut. The way this fight went was it was pretty much one paced. Ajagba sort of was using the jab a lot, you know. His jab was very good, but he didn't really have any variation in his work. Ajagba, it was all sort of one paced. He was popping the jab a lot. It seemed like with the right hand he was sort of looking for the perfect opportunity to land a good right hand, rather than, you know, sort of letting his hands go a bit, throwing combinations a bit. It was just pretty much jab, jab, jab all the way through. I think Jonathan Rice, he got a couple of the early rounds. Scorecards were a bit wide. I think some of them were like 9 rounds to 1 on 2 of them, or something like that, and 8 to 2. I think, you know, he with Rice, he did make it tricky. He made it quite difficult for Ajagba. I think Rice boxed all right overall. You know, he didn't box like he really came to win and really came to put on a show, but he did make it very difficult for Ajagba because he presented some problems. He was using a bit of a shoulder roll. He was sort of moving his head back out the way of the punches, and he was able to sort of make Ajagba miss and make him pay for certain mistakes he was making. So you know, this guy was Rice. He may not have won the fight or anything, but he certainly poked a few holes in Ajagba's game. He certainly sort of exposed a few of the flaws in Ajagba, because you know, Ajagba doesn't really move his head, and this guy Jonathan Rice was able to expose that by he was able to land several right hands, and that right hand of his, it was pretty much landing at will. I mean, Ajagba wasn't hurt by any of the shots from Rice, but the fact that Rice was able to just land these punches at will, and, you know, sometimes a left hook, and he was I think for me the sort of worrying-ish signs for F.A. Ajagba. Although he's a prospect, he's still undefeated, and that you know, the fact that Jonathan Rice was able to sort of read him quite well. And I think that for me, that's a little bit worrying, because, you know, for him going forward. I think they're going to have to take their time a little bit with Ajagba, because, you know, Rice is not the top guy ability-wise, but he was really able to sort of read what Ajagba was doing, and you could see he was able to counter Ajagba pretty well, because Ajagba's a guy that he does have decent power, not the most amazing power, not like I would say not like an AJ or a Wilder or so, that sort of power, but he does have decent power. I think what he kind of lacks is a bit of speed and a bit of snap to the punches. If he hits you, he could hurt you, but I think his sort of lack of speed and lack of urgency in his work really sort of played against him in this fight. And although Rice is not that great, but he's decent and he's slick, and he was able to sort of make him miss, and he was able to take advantage of how slow Ajagba is. And he was there, and you think to yourself, well, if this guy can do it, who came with a little bit of ambition, but didn't really look like he was there to win as the fight wore on, his ambition sort of wore down a bit. And you think to yourself, if this is somebody half decent, somebody with a bit more ambition, somebody who might be able to punch a bit harder, and somebody quite quick with their hands, quick with their feet, Ajagba's going to be in problems here. And Tim Bradley said in the commentary that he'd spoke to Ajagba and said, well, when do you think you're going to be ready for a world title shot? And apparently Ajagba said to Bradley that he'd be ready in about 2 years. And the thing is, I think that's one thing that is quite a good sign, really, because at least that shows to me that he sort of knows his limitations. He knows that he is he's very much a work in process. There's a lot to work on with his game, and at least he knows that. That shows me that he's got a level head, and he's not naive about his boxing. He knows that he's still very much in a learning phase. He's not ready for any of the top guys. He's not ready for top 10. He might be ready for top 15, top 20 guys or whatever, but he's definitely not ready for any sort of world title at all, because I think all the top 10 would definitely beat him on that performance. He's a guy that, he's got potential. He's got a lot to work on. I think he needs to work on the head movement and feinting and things like that. He needs to not make his attacks so obvious, because I think, as I said before, anyone half decent, they're going to find him out, and they're going to be landing counters on him all night long, because he doesn't move his head. He's very sort of static and upright. And I think he's quite easy to read for guys that are quite smart, guys with a good ring IQ. They're going to read his attacks all night long. So he's a prospect. He's a work in progress, and he's still learning on a job. I hope all the best for Ajagba going forward. I hope he continues to learn and continues to progress. He got the main thing, really, which is a win, unanimous decision win. That's the main thing, really. And we'll see how he progresses. And that's just my thoughts on Ajagba winning by unanimous decision over Jonathan Rice. And until next time, it's MKO Pugilism over and out, and I'll catch you on the next one.